Trying to build on that. This season, Texas has always led by Jarrett Elliott, 20th season as the Longhorns head coach. Getting close to that 500 win mark. Well, in this series, Texas has dominated all time. 89-9-2. Longhorns have won 38 straight meetings for the Red Raiders. Their last win back on November 1st of 2000. Texas 41-3 at home. Swept both matches last year. They last lost a set to Tech in 2017. Underway. Gabriel trying Phillips for a second time on the right side. The sophomore Molly Phillips registers the first kill, first point of the match. Back to serve, the graduate transfer, Morgan O'Brien, wearing now number 16. She was in 44 in that black Libro jersey, but finally getting the jersey in with the number that she wants to rock. And out there, part of that good backline defense for Texas that has them at a perfect 8-0. 4 of those here at home in the Irwin Center, their temporary home for this 2020 season. 4 on the road, including 2 at number 13 K-State last week. It was a straight set sweep in the second of the 2 matches. The first one went 5. It's the first 5-setter Texas has had all season. We see the impact player Asia O'Neal with the big swing.
Well, that's what we talked about at the beginning of the show. They want to make sure to get the middles involved as early as possible, and Asia O'Neal is a huge part of their success.
Sydney Peterson serving for Texas. Gabriel will try Eggleston. Texas will get the point off the net violation. Peterson will continue to serve. On the Red Raiders side of the net, look for number 13, junior Alex Kirby. She's the setter that makes it go for Texas. Jenna Gabriel keying the offense as the Longhorns now on a 3-0 scoring run after that attack air from Samantha Sanders. Mentioned she leading the team is Sanders in kills per set. 3.19 is O'Brien there for the dig. Gabriel will try Eggleston. Tapping it is Sanders, senior from Waco, Texas.
You know, it was Sanders that finished it. Smart swing at the end of that, but I love the dig by Lindsay Didson. She was there right in the right spot, dug that ball high in the middle of the court.
Audrey Tuttle, the server for the Red Raiders, and there's Asia O'Neal on that slide. That's a piece of her offensive game this Texas staff really likes and provides the dynamicism for the offense.
Well, and Coach Elliott talked about Asia O'Neal on the slide earlier this week when he said where we're trying to expand our game is getting her more involved in front and behind, but she is playing so well behind the setter right now on that slide, and that's what we saw right there.
Well, speaking of playing well at the service line, Eggleston coming into this set of matches, led the Big 12 at aces, has a service error though, but Texas likes how aggressive she's been in serving the ball. Sanders doing so now. Gabriel will try Skylar Fields on the left side, the sophomore from Missouri City, Texas. Another attacking option for the Longhorns. So O'Neal, the sophomore from Southlake, Texas, will serve. Ace numbers are up for Texas on the year, 1.4. That's second in the NCAA. What do you see on the serve there from O'Neal?
Well, the tough part about this serve is how deep it is, and it just drops on the end line. It's a tough ball to play and judge as a passer, and they just let it fall.
Had a great look there from the baseline. The movement on that ball as the Red Raiders go out to the left, high dig from Eggleston. Field's trying to redirect, but one on the Red Raiders side of the net. Their 6-foot setter, Alex Kirby.
Well, and that's just one of the things she does so well. She has excellent court presence, great leadership. We talked to Coach Greystone about that earlier, but she's very, very aware of what she's doing at the net.
Out to Fields, the cut shot, but a little too much wide on the third swing for Skylar Fields. Back row for Eggleston. Called long out of bounds. Texas side thought tips.
Looking for a touch there, not super convincing. They didn't turn to Coach Elliott and say, hey, you absolutely have to call this. But the set that may have been a little bit low. Eggleston didn't get a free feet there in time and hit the ball out of bounds.
It was Fields with the tip for Texas. O'Brien with the dig. Eggleston over towards the scorer's table. A little more room here at the Irwin Center than the traditional confines of Gregory. But a nice scoring run now, 4-0 for the visiting Red Raiders. As it knotted up at 7 apiece, just a reminder, play best 3 out of 5, first to 25 in the first 4 sets, win by 2. If we go to a 5th, it is to 15, win by 2 as well. Coaches' challenges in place 3 each. Unless we were to go to a 5th, they receive 1 more. As Texas breaks the run. Off the swing from Eggleston, 3-time Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week. First time Texas volleyball has had a player named to the weekly Player of the Week award consecutively 3 times. Shows you the rhythm she has been in. Had a pretty good week last week as well. Season high 20 kills in that 5-set win over K-State.
Like I said, I think we're starting to get to know what we're going to get out of her offensively. She's been consistent, someone they can count on for a kill. And it's just going to be fun to continue to watch her all-around game expand.
Gabriel serving to the libero for Texas Tech. Emerson Solano with the redirect off the pass. Texas able to convert. Jenna Gabriel Jr. from Honolulu, Hawaii. Went to Mary Knoll High School, actually has a high school teammate, and Kiari Geyer, that is on the Texas Tech roster. So making their way all the way from Honolulu to now the Irwin Center. High school meetup.
It's always fun playing against a teammate on the other side of the net.
Yeah, see it all the time in Texas, former high school teammates, but rarely two from Hawaii. Gabriel will try the middle. First mention for number 10, Breon Butler. Junior middle blocker from Kendleton, Texas.
Talk about the whole game, right? So it's Eggleston with a pass, perfect pass that allows Gabriel to set this ball, just lay it up there for Butler, and they need to get Butler going more and more over the course of the season and get those two comfortable with one another consistently.
Love her offense out of the middle. Butler leads the Big 12 in hit percentage. Not too shabby blocking-wise as well. Teaming up with Eggleston on the left side there.
Looks like the ball was going out of bounds and they wanted a touch call on the Tech hitter, but it doesn't look like they got it.
Point went to the Red Raiders, who send a free pass over. Where does Gabriel go? Try the middle again, dug up by Solano. Take you back through that sequence, starting with the dig from Solano off the swing from Butler.
when you can just watch her read Butler, make her move, a slight move on the other side of the middle blocker, and that's what she does so well. She adds the leadership, the vision, and she has so much experience with this team and really is the engine of this Tech team.
Senior from Amarillo, Texas. Off the call against the Longhorns. Red Raiders remain on serve. Lindsay Dodson doing so. Tries Eggleston. Quick in the middle of the pass. Gabriel Butler with the finish.
And again, hard to stop when it's the perfect set. She's on top of the ball, hitting at the top of her reach. You see the speed of that. She gets on top of it, and it's really hard to defend with one blocker there.
Well, in our conversations with Coach Jarrett Elliott earlier this week, he stressed it, the middle. Feels like that is part of the key for Texas in trying to speed things up, so something to keep an eye on throughout these two matches and moving forward for this Texas squad. They've lost just 3 sets across their 8 matches played, the 2 against K-State and then 1 earlier this season against Oklahoma, but have been dominant here at home. It's Phillips seeing all the different pieces of the Texas attack.
And this is a fast set behind. We've talked about Phillips before and how she's improving, but look at her cut this ball down the line on the outside of the left side blocker. She looks like she's going in straight ahead and gonna hit it cross court, and she just drops that thumb and hits it down the line.
Texas leading by 2, 13-11 here in the opening set. So O'Brien's dig goes over. Red Raiders will try the right O'Brien there again. Logan Eggleston once again for Texas. With some good defense from O'Brien.
Unbelievable play by O'Brien. And there's that power tip that Coach Elliott was talking to us this week that they've been working on. So Eggleston doesn't even have an approach. So she goes up, straight arm, and just throws that ball down.
Trying the left side consecutive times. Samantha Sander got sent back to first, but goes down the line. Peterson can't get it. That's who they've sent the majority of their offensive attacks to. 10 swings from Samantha Sanders thus far, 2 kills. Eggleston right at the 3-meter line, trying to dump was Kirby, and effective.
You know, it's so hard to read a play like that. When the setter goes up with both hands, they look like they're about to set the ball. The middle is waiting. Such a smart play, and she just sets the ball over the net. You see O'Neal get a hand on it, but can't redirect it in the right direction.
Nalani Yosia trying to range to get that checked in for Texas. Number 12 in white as the Longhorns convert with some good offense there. Eggleston off to a good start. 4 kills on 7 swings. Her team leading by 2 here and setting up a little bit later. But what remains, a looming big matchup against Baylor in 2 weeks. But we knew that this season was going to be unique and a sprint. A lot has been asked of the coaching staff, but we're already halfway through.
It's crazy that we're already halfway through. I mean, we're on the other side of it, but still battling. Everyone's still figuring out their teams, what's going on in their own little situations, and it's still a very unique situation.
It's been tough for Texas Tech. 8 different starting lineups. Mentioned the 8 players out due to COVID contact tracing. Picked to finish 7th in the Big 12, coming off a 17-13 season. They go 7-9, 5th in Big 12 play. Mentioned that was their best Big 12 finish in program history. 7-5 road record as well. Their 4 road Big 12 wins were their most since 2001. They defeated number 13 Iowa State. So you look at this team and this program for Tony Greystone, just a 5th year. This is tough to do in a situation, especially when you have a revolving door with personnel, but they have good pieces moving forward.
Oh man, he's done such a fantastic job, and I just love how hard his team plays, what they've been doing offensively, how he's been recruiting and training them. This is a team that's improved so much and is good. And yeah, it's been a challenge, he said that, but they've been battling and hanging in there.
Well, look no further than last week when they played number 2 Baylor. They lost in straight sets in the second matchup, but the first one went 5, and Coach Greystone was really encouraged by that. They were really close, and he talked about the personnel, just, hey, we have to deal with what we have, what we put out on the court, but he's liked how his team has responded. Teams have gone back and forth. Texas able to keep a 2-point advantage, but cut to 1. Brooke Canis, 2020 preseason All Big 12 nod for the junior from New Braunfels, Texas.
Well, and this is what they need from Canis. We talked about her at the beginning, and she's played middle, she's played right, she's on the left now, and really holding it down in any position that she's playing right now.
Talk about holding it down. Held it down from the back middle, did Eggleston with that. That was about as live an arm you can see from the back row.
Well, and the beauty of that is the speed of it, right? It's fast, she's on it quick, and absolutely, when it's set perfectly, she can crush that ball.
Second team All-American last year, second career All-American selection. Honorable mention as a freshman, but Eggleston building towards what could be a potential player of the year this year, next year, who knows. But that's where her game is at, per Coach Elliott. Very excited with her all-around game you focused on in the Open as well. Big swing there, would have cut it to just 1 point, but Texas able to keep that distance now at 3 and have the ball to serve Gabriel. Second serving error for Texas as a squad. Eggleston with the other. Alex Kirby to serve. Ryan there on the dump. Gabriel for Fields.
A nice pickup by O'Brien. I like that Kirby got away with it once, did it the first time and scored, and that time O'Brien was there. Perfect pass. Set was a little bit tight, but Fields did a nice job getting her feet there and hitting that ball over.
Second kill for Skylar Fields. She took to the bench. You'll see it in to serve. Another serving weapon for Texas as Eggleston is dug in the back row. The Red Raiders can't get it over. So Red Raiders with a timeout after a 4-1 Texas run. And Salima, you go back to that challenge, would have made it 17-16, but Jarrett Elliott using the challenge card, successful. Has his team now 5.
And have none of them throughout the course of a match.
And so many different things what he had pointed out. Who to set when teams are bunching, where to set, and then the one that we've talked about a lot, when to repeat. I love that as well. You see a setter go twice, or maybe that first ball is dug, but going to your hitter again and saying, all right, I think you're gonna put this one down. Delani Yosia, the freshman from Torrance, California. Coming off the timeout. Canis going off the Texas block. So keeping her team in this one, getting them the ball back on the side out. Texas 70.6 on their side out percentage thus far for the Red Raiders. 60% here in set number 1. Hear the communication on both sides of the net. Texas goes to Eggleston, who ends the long rally.
And a really nice job on both sides of the net. I like what Tech's doing. They're trying to get setter involved, trying to get Texas out of system. They were out of system, but man, Nani laid that ball up perfectly for Eggleston to crank.
Morgan O'Brien served for Texas. Gabriel will back set for Phillips, trying to find space, but the defense there. Some defense from O'Brien. Gabriel to Eggleston. That power push. What'd you call it earlier?
A power tip. It's
power
just a power tip.
I think Coach Elliott referred to it as maybe 3 or 4 different things.
He did. Yeah, I think they're coming up with their own name from it. But it's a tough play to defend. It's a ball that's at the top of the reach, and they tip it and try to throw it down just to the empty spot on the court.
Seasons where she falls in line, but she has that type of potential.
She really does. She has that type of potential, and putting up those numbers, again, with that all-around game, that's the full package.
Coach Elliott talked about her range last year where it was at 1 step, now 3 to 5 feet, and how she is just loaded up on that offensive arsenal, and that's pretty easy right there. The ball right on her, hammers it home. (7-2) Texas run. O'Brien serving, Texas 2 points away. Make it now set point after the ace. Fitting that the first set would end that way, a Logan Eggleston kill.
Of course it is. It was off the dig. Good off-blocker defense, dug the ball, and then gets set.
Pedal to the metal for Texas's leader, Logan Eggleston. Double-digit kills, 10. Back at the Frank Irwin Center, 1 set down between the #1 team in the country, Texas Longhorns, and the Texas Tech Red Raiders. In the story, Logan Eggleston. She's already 3-time Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week, and off to as good of a start, as good as she has played, that we have seen with her 10 kills, hitting 600.
I mean, you just don't see outside hitters hitting those numbers. I mean, that's astronomical. See if she can maintain or come down to earth with the rest of us.
410 as a team. Texas 18 kills, just 2 attack errors, 190 the hitting percentage. And Coach Greystone, when we talked about matchup against a pretty good outside hitter last week in Baylor and Yassiana Presley, they said that was just the one player that we could not minimize. We were able to do good work against their middles, but for Texas Tech right now, can they find a way to stop Eggleston? Get a look here, and more of the same.
More of the same, and again, it's tough when she's moving the ball around so much. And you saw even the first couple of swings, a big swing, a tip over the top of the block, and then this one goes sharp and hard inside the block.
You see us serving. Texas with some defense. Breon Butler, Eggleston there as well. And we saw early on, at least in the match, too, Gabriel and the Texas offense, they were moving the ball around. They were going into the middle. We saw O'Neal on the slide, Phillips on the right side, Fields a couple times. Does that balance help free up Eggleston as well?
It absolutely does. The balance always helps. When you're passing well and you move the ball around, the middle blocker on the other side of the net has to think, right? They have to prepare, where am I going to go and how am I going to defend? And that absolutely frees things up.
Opponents hitting .237 against Texas Tech across their 8 matches. The Red Raiders themselves hitting .228 as Eggleston gets another good look. Red Raiders keep it alive, but unable to get it over in 3. So more of the same from Logan Eggleston. Red Raiders yet to register a block as well. Texas with 3. Now 4 service errors. Every week we get to talk to Coach Elliott about serving. It's always fun, that evolved conversation, the line between aggression. But Texas, we've seen 2 aces, 4 airs, and when they come, I think very important based on our conversations. Trying to find what those best things are. He had made the point about when you get to those bigger, tighter matches against the Baylor in the NCAA tournament, those little points, can we put pressure within the service zones? That's why the serve's so important.
It's so important. And so this is that power tip we talked about again. They're looking to put this ball in the middle of the court from a high contact point, which makes it really hard to defend.
All right, so we're going with power tip.
Yes.
All right, power
we
tip.
are.
Not power push.
No, a push isn't a thing.
I'm just trying to make sure, we're on the same page there. Obviously, Texas and their setter, Jenna Gabriel, Logan Eggleston, on the same page and where this offense is at through the opening points of the second. Gabriel will try O'Neal on that slide.
A nice swing on this slide. The ball's off the net, but you see the Tech blockers are both getting in position, watching that, but Eggleston with a good net awareness is able to finish that off.
It's a little too much from O'Neal. And go back to those Kansas State matches, and Coach Elliott had said our first 3 or 4 matches beginning of the season, we were struggling to put teams away, and he had singled out the number 17. The reason I go back to that as well, you remember 17-16 was where that challenge was at, said that that's really where we found trouble at that 17-point mark, putting teams away. But Salim, at least what we saw in set number 1, that's where Texas really put their foot on the gas.
Absolutely, that's a conversation they just keep having, and it's one they have to continue to have now and moving forward, and Coach Elliott knows that. This is about, of course, the Big 12 season, what they're doing now, the match that's in front of them, but it's also about the NCAA tournament in the spring. And once you get down the road, those tougher teams, they have to be able to continue to put their foot on the gas at the end of games.
And he said, frankly, look, we know we have a special team, but the good thing for coaches and these players, we need to be, and we want to be tested a little bit. And going to 5 sets against Kansas State, learning moment for them. They discussed it. They've brought it back home where they've obviously been so good over the years and against Texas Tech, and you're seeing those results. Asia O'Neal. Talked a lot about her being asked to do more, being left one-on-one, and how that creates offensive opportunities. That coming off a little bit of defense on the overpass. Texas with a lot of exciting pieces in what will be a championship season come spring. So these 16 Big 12 matches will crown a conference champ. Texas picked for the 13th time in program history, 10th consecutive years, the favorite to win the Big 12. They split with Baylor last year after going 15-1.
And I like that Gabriel's continue to work this ball to O'Neal. She made an error earlier, weren't really lined up perfectly. They have to keep working on it. I mean, that's the only way to continue to get better and to continue to get the middles involved is just keep setting them.
O'Neal taking advantage of those matchups, said she hit over 800 in those one-on-ones, but getting comfortable as she gets going, the better they become. Eggleston, a little too much as O'Neal sits down. Skylar Fields, Breon Butler up front with Gabriel. Eggleston back middle as Gabriel will try Fields. That's a name we haven't really talked a lot about thus far, but what does she bring to this dynamic offense?
Well, you know, Skylar Fields jumps high, she's physical, she's low error. I mean, this is someone you can count on. You know, it's eventually, I would imagine, she's going to be in 6 rotations. And right now, just being in 3 rotations, it's limited to how much she's getting set. And if it's a perfect pass, they want to sit the middles, but she's going to get a nice little run here.
And she's putting together a nice little point scoring run for Texas. Starts with the effort from Gabriel.
Nice swing down the line by Fields.
And in regards to becoming a 6 rotation player, said that she's working a ton, is Fields, on her passing game to develop at an elite level. You talk next level for Eggleston. Fields wants that same thing. The talent is there, just continuing to mature her game.
And this is where she might get served some balls in this rotation, rotation 1.
You are on it, partner. Texas going out to Phillips.
But a nice calm pass by Fields, right? That ball's in her lap. She knows in rotation 1, that's where they have some trouble. They're stacked over there. She has to be in the passing pattern. And that's where people are gonna go. So they've been working on that and did a nice job handling that ball.
You'll see it into serve. Eggleston will move up front. Saw the big jump serve to start the season with Osea going with more of a stationary but still effective. The Red Raiders get the point going off the Texas block. Candace leading the way for Texas Tech, 6 kills, Sanders 4. They've gotten the majority of the swings for this team that Coach Greystone. They have only been able to put their full lineup out there for 3 sets on the season. So you've played 8 matches thus far, but just through COVID contact tracing and personnel in and out, he said, look, we just can't get our team together.
And that's so hard. That's so hard for a coach to manage different lineups, help their kids stay motivated when they're moving around different positions, but he's done a really nice job. He said the team has responded. They're like, hey, we're in, whatever you need us to do. And they're still going after it here.
So they're doing some good things, first touch dependent, but they're able to score and keep things together, and happy all things considered. A good mini rally here, the ace from Dodson.
This serve, she blasts this serve. She's got a lot of movement on this ball, a lot of heat on it. It's hard to handle.
You've talked about it in the serve receive for Texas. When Eggleston's back there, where will teams go to try to find her? And that's where they targeted Texas Tech on a 4-0 scoring run. They cut the lead to just 1 for Texas.
On the green, it's game day. Let me hear the crowd scream, it's game day.
The whole squad came to play, it's game day.
4-0 scoring run for the visiting Texas Tech Red Raiders. Set this to a 12-11 second set. Lindsey Dodson remaining on serve. Goes to O'Brien. Gabriel will try Eggleston. Emerson Solano there. Off the Texas block. Butler and Phillips think it was the tips of Butler. All tied up at 12 apiece now. First tie since 1-1 in the first.
And it's Sanders just getting after it, blasting through the block.
Samantha Sanders, their leading point scorer on the attack coming into these matches. Great effort by Osea, as Gabriel will just have to send it over. Red Raiders will try the middle, something we haven't seen too much of.
Well, you know, they need to throw it in there. They're going to have to get some middle offense going for sure, because they're relying very heavily on their pins right now. And that's going to force Texas block to have to think a little bit as well.
So the first lead of the match now for the Red Raiders, and they will build on that. The overpass is sent back home. It's number 12, Caddy Boyer, the sophomore from Georgetown, Texas. Texas block there to send Sanders back.
And I tell you, it's the serve that's giving Texas fits right now. Absolute bomb. Texas is out of system over and over again. They're getting good touches on the block.
An 8-0 scoring run. Dodson, big part of that. Texas will end it with a kill from Molly Phillips. O'Brien to serve for Texas. Into the middle, Asia O'Neal. That's some of that chemistry between the setter Gabriel and O'Neal in the middle.
Phillips does a nice job of handling this ball right front. O'Neal is up and ready as soon as Gabriel has the ball in her hands.
At 6'3", able to range up. Figure out where she wants to go, made it look easy. Dig by O'Brien, Gabriel will try the right, and Phillips to the floor, Gabriel keeps it alive. Off the Texas block, O'Neal and Phillips.
Sanders is just battling up there. She's getting swing after swing, not making errors, keeping the ball in play, taking big rips, getting Texas out of system, and then finally having an opportunity to score.
Came in hitting 181, Samantha Sanders. Now 8 kills, trying to get her going, and they have in this second set. But Phillips responding. 2 pivotal points across this sequence where Tech really had the long run. She broke it, and then a quick side out for Texas as Phillips sits down. In Sydney Peterson to serve.
Peterson in, doing what she's used to doing, comes in and flies in, making a perfect touch off that block. Transition to score.
Sydney Peterson was in the Libero jersey for Texas last year, but with the addition of the graduate transfer O'Brien, now another piece for Texas, and such a luxury to have her as that back row defender and what she can do. Eggleston going down the line. "17 kills now for Logan Eggleston. Season high is 20. So well within reach as Sanders goes right at Eggleston. Sanders is really heated up in this second set.
She is. I mean, she's moving the ball around just like we talked about with Eggleston. She hit the ball before, just down the line. Now she's going sharp cross court.
She had 3 kills in the first, now 6. All tied up, 17. Gabriel to the floor to get the ball to Eggleston. The tap in the middle, O'Neal able to make work of that.
Nice play by O'Neal, just hanging out at the net, waiting for something to happen, and uses her vision, just throws that ball down.
Seems to have such a knack for that, those plays that are out of sequence and being in the right place, awareness on the court as Texas back in the lead at 18-17, Eggleston serving. There's the Texas block insert. It actually shook. Number 9, the senior, 6'1", working on that right side, and that's where Texas Tech has had success. Sanders gets sent back.
See this perfectly formed block? It's nice to have Shook in there. big block allows O'Neal to get all the way hip to hip and press over the net.
Texas out-blocking Texas Tech 5-0. Been a much more competitive, at least later on, second set. Longhorns won the first 25-17. It was right around this. A good one here in the second for Texas on serve. Leading by 2. Sanders going towards the back. Eggleston tried to get there, but off her hands.
Using her range again. This is a big block in front of her, but she wants to go a little bit more down the line over Shook rather than over O'Neal, and she catches it.
Shook sits down. The serve goes long. So he missed opportunity, potential there to tie it up at 19.
And I think they know if they can put some service pressure on this Texas team, that's where they got in trouble earlier. If they can have some success. Looks like that ball never cleared the net. Texas ball in a good spot, but ball played from way off the net.
Sydney Peterson sat down. Molly Phillips in, joined Skylar Fields and Breon Butler on the front row. The Texas triple block goes up, so all 3 of them.
And that's really just with practice, you know, looking at that.
So as the conversation continues to evolve regarding the Eyes of Texas here at the University of Texas, tonight we present to you a piece from Fozzie Whitaker and Dr. Edmund Gordon, evolved over the last week, with Chris Del Conte, the athletic director, saying that the players would stand together as a unified group for the Eyes of Texas. But Coach Tom Herman had talked about nobody mandating the players do anything during the Eyes of Texas. We've had conversations with Jarrett Elliott. We saw earlier yesterday the student band in the conversation as well. A survey going around about the playing of the Eyes of Texas, and not saying that they would play it due to lack of instrumentation were they to be present at the game. But this conversation continues to evolve and has become a national story here in regards to the Eyes of Texas. Heard from Logan Eggleston in the first time that we had the opportunity to see the team in person in regards to what they're doing, but important to continue to put context to the Eyes of Texas and what the messaging is from the student athletes, the students, and everybody involved, and we'll continue to have that conversation here on the other side of set number 2. Is Texas 2 points away, but Texas Tech cuts it to 3 with the block.
And Tech just scrapping on defense. They dug so many balls in this rally. Again, keeping the ball alive, forcing Texas a little bit out of system. Fields not exactly where she wants to be and hits the ball into the block. A nice block on the other side of the net.
Fields through the block. Fifth kill for Skylar Fields. 18 swings, second most on the team. Set point. You'll see it a serve. And that'll do it. A redirect from Breon Butler. Texas ends the set on a 12-4 scoring run.
You know, and that was what Texas needed to do. They got in a little.
This #1 team in the country. Big reason why Logan Eggleston, 18 kills, equaling the production of her team. And it's not like the rest of the team is not having a good match. It's just that Eggleston is on fire. Safe to say it's as good, and we've seen her good, but as good as we have seen her, at least offensively this year thus far?
Oh, this is as good as we've seen her. I mean, I think she's comfortable. She's playing at a high level. She's playing with range, you know, all the things I'll continue to say. But, yeah, she looks really good tonight.
Red Raiders led by Samantha Sanders, 10 kills, 35 swings. Brooke Canis, we talked about in the open, 6 kills for Texas. Fields, O'Neal, and Phillips all have 5 each. Butler with 3. Texas hitting 383 as a side. Texas Tech 193. 6.5 blocks to just 1 for Texas Tech. Big difference right there. But scrappy second set from the visiting squad. They got right back in it, took a lead, their first lead since going back to 1-1 in set #1.
We always talk about serve-pass game. You hear it over and over again, and that really is the key. If you can bomb a serve tough, and get another team out of system and out of rhythm, it's going to be really, really good for your team. Just love what Solano's doing on the other side of the net. She's everywhere on defense. Reading that power tip, then digging a hard-driven ball. Keeping Tech in this.
Yeah, you talk personnel for Texas Tech. We saw #1, Haley Harmon, senior from Dallas, Texas. First match action that she has seen over the course of the year. So Coach Greystone really just trying to find the pieces that he has available. Tough serve from Eggleston. Gabriel will try O'Neal on the slide.
And that's just over the top of the block. I mean, they're there. They know it's coming to her. There goes the block. They're getting there, getting in position. Tough to defend.
Talk to me about the slide. We talk about the slide so much, but I think for most of us that aren't PhDs in volleyball like you are, why is it such a unique thing that middle blockers can use to affect the defense with their offense?
Well, there's a couple of things. You tend to jump a little bit higher off of 1 foot. So that's nice, right? So you're elevating at a higher point, but really it's spreading the offense, especially when you have someone coming out of the back row like Eggleston. So you can move from the left side to the right side like you have a right side attacker with someone coming out of the back row as well. So again, it puts more stress on the defense to defend everyone.
So O'Neal once again. Red Raiders were ready defensively, and they run their offense out of the middle. Allison Bloss, the senior from Argyle, Texas. #9 came into this match second in the Big 12 in hitting percentage at .402. We talked love being in the air for the Red Raiders. #9, Allison Bloss. You may have known her previously. Definitely a unique wrinkle.
But he's super happy for her. She's, you know, it's a wonderful thing, getting married, but It's definitely different for a coach.
Speaking of significant milestones, a happy birthday to your son.
Look at that. Logan getting a shout out. Yeah, turned 16 yesterday.
Streets are safe though, because you said he's not driving
no,
yet.
he can't drive. No, we don't want that.
But yes, a happy birthday to Logan. Texas three-point advantage. Sanders out of the bat. Texas will go into the middle. Breon Butler.
And Coach Elliott said they've been working on this from a little bit further off the net. You'll see Gabriel's at about the 8-9 foot line when she set this ball and lays it in there for Butler, and how they're connecting even better on that ball. That's what they want to continue to develop over the course of the season.
Breon Butler, it's a player that it doesn't feel like we talk as much, at least about Eggleston or the Pins, but Texas has such a weapon with her both offensively and defensively.
Look at you.
Love it when it happens like that, right?
Look at you, but it's the defense. Perfect dig here by O'Brien to keep the play going. And then it's Butler doing what she does best, hanging out in the middle of the court with the block.
Butler tied for first in the Big 12 in blocks per set, 1.37. To show you how good Texas is defensively, she's tied with her teammate, Asia O'Neal. Longhorns, 2.91 they average per set. That's first in the Big 12, fourth amongst all NCAA teams playing in this fall season. It's Texas getting the point, their advantage at 6, Gabriel to serve. Another block for Texas. Phillips over there with Breon Butler. A 9-2 scoring, taking in some dominant action for the top team in the country. 5-0 scoring run, part of a 9-2 run for Texas in this third set. This has been something that Coach Elliott talked about. Third sets, can we put these teams away that we have controlled the match relatively for the entirety? Do we have that gear? Do we have the mental focus to stay sharp and stay in our communication? He talked about for the setter, Jenna Gabriel, that really being a point of emphasis and growth for her. It's something to watch here in the third set. For Texas Tech, can they get back to finding Sanders? It seems like that's really where they found their best offense, but Texas has tightened up the block too.
Trying to mix it up a little bit. You'll still see Fields here. She's a left side blocker, but she's not going anywhere. She knows that they're not running a slide behind, so she's able to step in and get the double block there.
Good serve from Janet Gabriel, makes easy work for her teammate Skylar Fields. So you talk serving pressure for Texas. It's also one of those things, staying sharp, knowing your game plan. It's a little bit natural tendency. Maybe when you play dominant, you can relax a little bit.
You absolutely can relax. I mean, it's kind of, yeah, like you said, it's a natural tendency where you just let off the gas a little bit, but you gotta keep the pressure on, and it's hard to keep your focus consistently for an entire match at every single point, but it's crucial. It's what you have to do to win.
And it's those habits that Coach Elliott talked about, why it's so crucial. It may not cost you a match like tonight. It may cost you a set potentially, but as you get further down the line, you develop those habits. And for this Texas group that feels, hey, this is a special group, we have all the pieces we need, continuing to form that and developing those habits. Big swing from Fields. I think some of my favorite takeaways when we talk with Coach Elliott, and you've been around part of championship teams as well. Obviously knows the X's and O's in and out as you do yourself, but that mental aspect, that's where you go next level. When you have the talent, you have the X's and O's, but then you're talking about other things from the years up.
Well, and that's it. That's for the great athletes, for the top athletes, the Olympians, the national champions. That makes the difference. That itself makes the difference. Coming in with that attitude, maintaining it throughout the course of the season, which is hard to do. It's a long season. And then, of course, when you're in those types of matches, it's mental.
So happy, would assume at least in terms of the score, largest lead for Texas. Saw earlier 16-6, great diving play. Riley Heinrich inserted, so Texas going to their bench, number 19 in white.
Nice serve, and then an excellent dig. Finish it off.
Heinrich now serving, freshman from Georgetown, Texas. Another defensive option. Nobody there for Texas. O'Brien trying to get to that space.
Yeah, Gabriel dug that ball just a little too tight to the net. No one was able to step in and set it.
Gabriel back for Phillips. Right at the libero. Solano who keeps it alive. Texas trying to do the same.
Nice heads up play by Tech. A little bit of a ricochet play out of the net. A smart down ball.
Quick into the middle and hammered. Breon Butler, that's when they talk about running offense in the middle. I think that's probably exactly
that's what they mean.
Drawing up,
that's
right?
what they're looking for. That's what they mean. Again, it's the height above the net. It's how high she contacts the ball. And it's those angles that are hard to defend.
What about the speed, too?
There's that.
It seems like such a bang-bang play.
It is. And even if it's a little bit higher set and not the fastest set, it's how quickly her arm's getting on it, right? The ball's in the air quickly, and then she gets on it fast.
Well, big smiles over on the Texas sideline. Jenna Gabriel sits down. Ashley Shook will come in, take over the setting duties for Texas. Up 19-8. Longhorns absolutely toasting the ball in terms of hitting percentage, 392.
And Heinrich, again, with a big play, defensive play, keeping the ball alive, scored a point.
So some new faces, ones we don't typically see over the course of the match, getting in. Nice hustle to keep the ball alive. Just off that ball, went around the antenna. Should have tried to go for Phillips.
Set just a little bit wide. Phillips was ready on that first step and had to kind of regroup and hit it out of bounds.
Up high on O'Brien. Longhorns have had some pretty dominant sets over the course of the year. 25-14 against Oklahoma, 25-13 in the 4-set to close that match out. 15, they held number 9 Kansas. We were here, that was in the 3rd set, and that's when Coach Elliott, when we talked to him after the match, had said, okay, they were listening to what we were talking about in terms of putting teams away. Is Texas looking to do just that here? 4 points away after the cut shot kill from Phillips. And you look for those little things in between the lines after that 5-setter at Kansas State. First night, Texas comes back the second night, and they win 15, 16, 16. So the bigger things, conversations we're talking for this Texas.
To get better in those areas, but they're already better, I think, than they have been.
Yeah, you talk defensively, O'Brien and Yosia coming in and really allowing Peterson to fall more into a role. Offensively, the evolution of Eggleston, Skylar Fields as well, the evolution of the offense in the middle, and as it also pertains to who runs the offense in terms of setting, with Jenna Gabriel moving into now an upper class role from a sophomore to a junior. So Texas, I like that. I was gonna ask you most complete, and you went there, but yes, this is a team that you look at and they have all the pieces.
They do indeed.
So it continues to have to be put together on the court. And we over here in our spots, we can gas them up. You know, the coaching staff, they'll be the ones, well, you still got to work on this.
Right.
That was you putting on your coaching hat a little bit there.
Can't help it.
Texas 3 points away. Shook for O'Neal. Tap in a little bit of touch. Texas 2 points away. See if Eggleston can shut it down and push Texas to 9-0 on the year. Asia O'Neal, we've talked so much with Coach Elliott. We have tonight about that slide, and she's shown it off.
She is, and I like that Chuck was able to set her that ball and get her in rhythm there.
9 kills on the match for Asia O'Neal, hitting .615. Match point, Texas. So not quite yet. Offense out of the middle with Bloss. Sanders will serve, and that'll do it. So Texas, they were strong in the first set, 25-17. Saw a very nice Texas Tech run in set number 2, 8-0, that put them in the advantage momentarily. Texas found that extra gear, won the second 25-20, and it was all Texas in set number 3.